Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 10 missing people found alive on video, and I did a reaction kind of somewhat similar to this a few days ago, and again, it wasn't the exact same video, but it was the same kind of context, and people saying how they wanted me to do more reactions like that. Again, this isn't exactly the same sort of video, but it's on the same similar lines. And I mean, yeah, so just more videos like that you want to see, because I enjoyed it as well. It's fun. It's fun. I'm not going to use my sort of words what I mean. It's fun to sort of see. Not fun. I always say interesting. I need to change my vocabulary. It is just crazy to see like people who have gone missing, and they've been missing for years, for days, whatever it is, be found. And it's just like, it's strange, because usually with these stories you always hear about the stories because the people have either been in like missing and not found, or they've been found dead, and just these things. But again, there's sometimes positives from these awful stories, right? But let's just get into this one, man. I mean, the last one wasn't actually video footage, so this might be a bit more sort of mind-blowing. We'll have to see, but let's jump into this. Quick shout out to my Instagram, my Twitter, links in the description for those interested. Same for my Patreon, links all there for those interested. But I mean, let's jump into this, man. Let's see what this video has to show me. Hopefully it's not clickbait as well. I mean, YouTube, I won't be surprised, but I hope it's not, and it's actually like legit. We'll just have to see, right?
Despite all of our modern technology, it's still possible to become hopelessly and completely lost almost anywhere. And when that happens...
Oh, his voice is annoying me, man. He's one of those sort of typical top 10 channels. Oh no.
The odds of you getting found are beyond your control and almost undoubtedly stacked against you. Number 10. When police pull over this van, they find two suspects and one innocent woman inside who is bound by metal.
Tight chain down by the neck.
The panic-stricken survivor tells police about her ex-boyfriend and his new boyfriend, Samuel Brown, who pulled her out of her Las Vegas apartment, kicking and screaming, and stuffed her inside of the vehicle.
He dragged me out of the place and I fought so hard because I was like, this is how you die.
Jack Morgan and Samuel Brown eventually confess that they've been planning this abduction for over a year, though the details were never made public. Still, the rescued woman has no doubt that they would have taken her life had the police not intervened. And judging from how unhinged her ex-boyfriend was acting in the back of the police car, she was probably right.
That is fucking weird, man. Okay, maybe this video isn't clickbait. That's a strange one. I mean, they're all going to be weird stories, right? But that one is baffling. I mean, the police maybe wouldn't have stopped the car and she would have lost her life. But I mean, thank God she didn't. And I mean, praise to the police, man. Praise. I mean, that's a life-saving moment there.
Number 9. 6 hours after a 2-year-old girl named Camilla Vicks was reported missing by her mother. It's over 100 degrees outside and police are combing the blistering hot forest in Savannah, Georgia for any remaining traces of the small girl's whereabouts. The wooded area is covered in dense greenery, and it's difficult to make out anything in front of them. It is starting to look like all hope is lost, but there is still plenty of daylight, so they march on in a long row. The search team continues, calling out to the child for quite some time, encountering tons of snakes and spiders all the while. When they finally get a loud and healthy response.
Where is she? Where is she? The child has been located.
Leaning against the tree is the dehydrated 2-year-old, tired and hungry but still alive. She had been missing since the evening of the day before.
Sorry, I was distracted by a fly.
But still alive. She had been missing since the evening of the day before, but her disappearance was not reported until the next morning. Exactly what happened before Camilla went missing is unclear. The mother has not been charged because she was in what police called a crisis situation when she lost track of her child. If someone could fill me in on what exactly that legal term means, I would greatly appreciate it. Number 8. This dramatic rescue footage was taken during the final hours of a 50-man search mission in the English village of Brancaster, Norfolk.
Wait, this is where Brian, I've never heard of this village. Wait, what? This is literally the county that I live in. Oh, what? This literally happened near me. Well, not that near me, but let's just see on the map. I've never been here before. I've never even heard of this place before. Zoom out. Madness. This is literally... I'm here. It's... Well, shit. This is going to be a weird one to see. And what the hell? I've never even heard of this one.
Pug is a 75-year-old author who somehow has become separated from his group while walking along a beach at 5 o'clock in the evening. Eventually, he accidentally wandered into a dense swamp at night and becomes more lost than ever before.
Oh, wow.
It kind of looks like he is hiding from the rescue team, but the poor exhausted man is actually trapped in sharp reeds that have latched onto his clothing and skin. The ground gave way from under him, and he has remained stuck in this uncomfortable position for the entire night, well into the next day. It even looks like he is clutching at reeds to keep from sinking any further. A full 22 hours pass before he is finally airlifted to safety. If not for the efforts of this police drone, all 50 rescuers could have easily passed over him numerous times. They most likely would have found his remains weeks or even years later without this aerial view.
Shit.
Number 7. A YouTuber named Steve Ronan is excited to explore the Ape Cave in Washington with his friends. They are laughing and having a laid-back adventure for most of the video until they find a tiny wall opening that is almost too tight for any of them to fit into. After squeezing their way down a cramped tunnel, they find something completely unexpected on the other side.
English? You speak English? No English.
No?
Oh, okay.
Is this real? I mean, I don't want to doubt it because, I mean, so far they've all looked 100% legit. And I mean, maybe there's a news story behind it, news stories behind them. But, like, you know YouTube, man, people, like, clickbait this stuff all the time just to get a few extra views and stuff. But, I mean, she looks, from what I've seen so far, she looks like she's actually, like, just scared for her life, basically. Not even acting kind of thing. Just fly, bro.
Come with us.
A frightened girl without a flashlight has somehow become lost and missing in the deep underground caverns. The group of friends eventually help bring her through the maze of tunnels and reunite her with her caretakers. It's a happy ending, but I can't help but imagine what would have happened if she wasn't accidentally rescued.
Jeez, that
It
is
looks like
nuts.
she was petrified with fear and not going anywhere on her own. With that said, it definitely would have been hard, if not impossible, to locate her in the dark, with her tiny voice bouncing off the cave walls from all angles. Number 6.
Wow.
A woman is paying her respects to a family member in Brazil. When she hears muffled noises coming from a nearby gravesite, she sees the earth moving and realizes with horror that someone is actually struggling to climb out. As it turns out, this person has gone missing for days after getting into an argument. Someone beat him senseless and then took his unconscious body to the cemetery, where they proceeded to bury him alive.
Oh my
Paramedics are
God.
able to determine a pulse and quickly excavate him from his shallow tomb just in time to save his life.
That, bro, I'm getting all kinds of feelings right now. That is, like, my fear, bro. I mean, it's not my fear, but it's a fear of mine. I mean, it is a fear. Not my biggest fear because I've got lots, but being buried alive and just being stuck there, not being able to do anything, just calling for help, not knowing if anyone's going to come and help you, man. Fuck.
Judging from this video, the poor man would have been a goner for certain, if not for the grieving woman who just happened to be close enough to hear his cries for help. Number 5. A group of Vietnamese villagers are busy chopping firewood when they see two wild-eyed men running in the jungle. One of them is middle-aged and the other looks twice as old. It is the first time anyone has seen them in 40 years. The oldest survivor is a villager named Tarn. In 1973, he disappeared into the jungle to hide from American troops. His wife set off a landmine
my
while holding two of his children, but he managed to
From the Vietnamese War. Oh shit. That is baffling. So they've just been hidden away for 40
escape
years.
with his third son Lang, who was only 2 years old at the time. Together, Tarn and Lang survived off of the land for 4 full decades. devouring nothing but rice, fruit, and vegetables while dressed in loincloths made of tree bark. They were totally isolated from society until they were discovered living in a tree house in 2013. I thought they would have been more excited to be rescued, but I can't help but notice how uncomfortable they both look instead, especially Lang.
Maybe they preferred their normal lives, man. Or their lives that was normal
who
to them.
truly is in a foreign world and barely speaks the language. Check out the surprised expressions on their faces, and let me know if you think they would have preferred living a simpler life in the jungle after all. Number 4. A young boy from Weifang City, China goes missing while playing with some friends. The 3-year-old somehow gets separated from the group.
How the fuck does a 3-year-old get stuck down here?
And plunges 33 feet down a vertical pipe before getting stuck in a particularly narrow section. Now a dozen firefighters are working hard to get to him before he makes the full 300-foot drop straight down. The stale air is filthy and potentially contaminated down there. So their first step is to pump fresh oxygen to the child, using hoses and tanks before he passes out, with the child able to breathe again. They patiently monitor him with cameras and try to figure out the most safe and efficient way to bring him above ground. It's an extremely tense situation because one false move could send him even further below. At the same time, waiting too long would inevitably have the same result. If you happen to speak the language, tell me what this relative is saying here. After more than 2 hours of careful planning, they finally managed to remove the child using ropes and a safety harness. The child is physically okay, but I can't help but wonder how this intense emotional damage will manifest itself later in life. Number 3.
Wow.
Aldi Adalang is 19 years old and making a living as a fisherman in Indonesia. One night, while fast asleep, his small fishing raft accidentally detaches from the dock and floats out to sea. It looks like a sturdy vessel, but judging from its size, the small raft was probably meant to navigate rivers, never the vast ocean. So imagine his absolute horror when Aldi wakes up miles from land, without a clue how to get back home. It was the beginning of a 49-day journey that almost ended his life. Supplies last only a couple days before dwindling down to nothing, after which Aldi survives by eating fish and filtering seawater through his shirt. His tiny craft has no engine or paddles, and every day he is forced to travel in whatever direction the waters and wind carry him. Many ships pass him by without a second thought. Finally, after traveling more than 80 miles on the Pacific Ocean, this large ship travels close enough to pick up his radio signal. They immediately turn around to help. Aldi still has to swim a terribly long distance across the open ocean to this boat and grab onto the ladder.
Oh my fuck. That is unreal.
It would have been terrible to let go and sink into the ocean after coming this far. But fortunately, Aldi hangs strong and lives to tell his entire ordeal in person. Number 2.
Wow, what a guy,
scientists are measuring snow levels in various locations throughout the Andes Mountains when their helicopter briefly stops at a remote mountain cabin to resupply. Inside, they find the emaciated frame of Raul Gomez, a man who has been missing for 4 months straight. He had been traveling from Chile to Argentina by motorcycle when a mechanical breakdown forced him off of the road. He found shelter and survived on whatever he could find in the months that followed, mostly raisins left behind in the cabin and rats that he caught in a homemade
Wow, I mean that is really, really just like fighting for your survival.
trap. Raul was originally called a hero, but apparently he was trying to escape from a dark history. The crafty survivor was reportedly fleeing the country after being accused of forcing himself upon a child.
Whoa. Shit. In that case, that's a shame. Why didn't they just... I mean, they're obviously not going to know at that point, but... Yeah, hopefully he got a lengthy sentence.
The last thing I could find Officials were asking for him to be returned back to Chile for trial. Unfortunately, I don't know if he was ever taken back and put to justice. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out.
The way he speaks is so weird.
I recently released a music video for my song Sidelined, and I'd love to get your opinion on it. Tap the circle icon in the top right corner, then tap my music video to give it a watch. It's also linked in the description below. It's a proven fact that generosity makes you a happier person than Thursday and Saturday. Number 1. Hannah Anderson is a 16-year-old girl who has been the longtime obsession of James DiMaggio.
These stories scare me, man. Like, when older guys are obsessed with these younger girls, and it just leads to some terrible, terrible stories, man. I mean, luckily, I feel like this one's going to have a happy ending, of course, but 99% of the time, they just end in absolute trash.
30-year-old friend of the family. One day, James snaps and takes out Hannah's entire family before burning her garage down. Next, he takes out Hannah, a 40-year-old friend of the family. One day, James snaps and takes out Hannah's entire family before burning her garage down.
So he killed her. Oh, shit. Oh, no, man. Oh, this is much worse than I thought it was going to be.
Next, he takes Hannah all the way from San Diego, California, to the backwaters of Idaho against her will. She is busy fearing for her life when a group of horseback riders randomly spot the two of them in the forest. They don't think anything of it until later when they receive an alert on their phones warning of Hannah's disappearance. The horseback riders lead authorities back to the campsite where they last saw Hannah. Now an FBI jet is monitoring their every move from thousands of feet in the air. This is the exact moment when Hannah spots the aircraft and signals for help. She keeps waving for help while James tends to the campfire with his back turned. Relying on her bravery and quick wits, Hannah is able to quietly alert authorities without drawing suspicion.
Wow.
The FBI knows they have found their target and quickly sends in a squad on foot. There is a short firefight, and by the end of it, Hannah is safe and James is no longer alive.
Wow.
As you watch these YouTubers flee in terror, I encourage you to think how
I'm still baffled by making music videos. This video was crazy, man. This video was actually nuts. I mean, it wasn't clickbait at all, so I'm actually appreciative of that. But the backstory to that last one especially was just sickening, to be honest. How does a baby end up alone and dehydrated in a forest? I know, like, there's got to be some. There's definitely some backstory to that which led it to happen, but like, I mean, yeah, you're not scared of the dark. You're scared of what might be hiding in it. I would have died of fear if I was left in the dark cave. What I'm wondering is how that girl got there in the first place. Exactly, man. She doesn't speak English. Okay, come with us. If you change the speed to 1.2, let me see. Speed to 1.25. Let's see how he sounds.
help, but imagine what would have happened if she wasn't accidentally rescued.
Yeah, she does sound normal. What the way he speaks is, I don't know. There's always like top 10 channels that have this kind of voice, but I mean, it is what it is, right? But I hope you enjoyed. Good video. I mean, if you want more stuff like this, suggest what you want to see in future. And I mean, yeah, hopefully enjoy. Until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.